They enjoy saying it every year in their economic surveys. Burkina Faso is the poorest country, Mali is the poorest country, Niger is the poorest country. We are ranked among the last. Very well, if we are as poor as they say, but when the time came to take responsibility, we asked these masters to leave. Why don't they want to leave? When we take the case of Niger, for over 40 years, some countries have been exploiting uranium to produce energy for themselves. From Ottawa to Paris, the streets are lit up. That's the light. But in Niger, it's darkness that is served to us. When you go to our states, our lands are riddled with holes, everywhere in search of precious metals like gold, but often there isn't even the slightest accessible road to reach the areas where they exploit gold, let alone some basic social services. That's why we decided to revolt and take the destiny of our countries into our own hands. There are many other examples. But when we decided to do so, well, we were approached by some armchair slaves to deliver the message of their master, because they had created this kind of polymer chain that rises to the head of our states to serve them. And we came to break the chain. And it's inconceivable for them. They approached us and asked us to fall in line, to become part of the elite that must lead Africa. Because they have a trained and conditioned elite that they must follow, who are embedded in that chain. We refused to fall in line with them. And from then on, hostilities began. They have infiltrated our areas with several mercenaries, trainers. Agents have descended into the Sahel, hoping to carry out barbaric, cowardly attacks against our populations, hoping to incite them to revolt. In addition to these on-the-ground attacks, communication attacks, manipulation, and disinformation are rampant in their ranks. But the people of the Sahel have understood, and never again will they be manipulated. They know where they come from, they know what they are doing, and they know where they are going. We will no longer allow this. People are awake and fighting today, not for ourselves, but for future generations. And thank you all for the fight that is being waged. This never makes us cry. We will not tremble. We will face it. We will fight for true independence, for our freedom. Because to scare the people of AES, these individuals only have 3 terms in their mouths: democracy, freedom, human rights. Of course, their local lackeys are only elected in a democratic, free and transparent process, according to them, their values. What could be more normal? That they want to impose this on us, because they are the ones who set the rules. Very well, we have decided to take responsibility for ourselves. That's why on July 26, 2023, when Niger decided to turn the page, the armchair slaves and their masters got on their high horses. They put their local lackeys forward and decided to wage a war against the Nigerian people. So we said, anyone who dares to attack Niger will face us, because we will wage a relentless war to the last drop of blood against anyone who dares to attack our states. This statement, this decision we made yesterday, is relevant today and will be relevant tomorrow and forever. Thus, the AES was born on September 16th, 2023, within a framework of mutual defense. But we deemed it necessary to extend and expand the architecture of the AES. What brings us together today should allow us to venture into other areas beyond defense, notably finance and economy, infrastructure, health, education, and so on. I hope that these moments will be a story we write for the AES, but especially for Africa and the entire world. May God enlighten each and every one of us. May God inspire us in these tasks entrusted to us. And above all, when we carry out our work, let us keep one thing in mind: the supreme interest of our populations. With that, we pray once again to the good Lord to accompany us all in our various tasks, to protect our fighters, who, thanks to them, allow us to sit here and discuss the future of our states. Once again, thank you, people of Niger. Be united and in solidarity, people of the AES, the homeland or death.
We were never taught about slavery, never taught about colonization, never taught about Africa, nothing. Like, it was just a leap of faith that I came here. I knew nothing about
You never
Africa.
taught about Africa?
Nothing. No, we were repeatedly taught about the world wars in Europe, yet they leave out the part where they were also fighting in Africa. We were repeatedly taught about, it's a period of time called the Tudor era, like 1500s, I think. I don't know why they fixate on certain periods of time, centuries ago, but they don't focus on the past century.
Because here in Africa, they teach us about Europe.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm shocked you telling me they never teach about Africa.
Like, let me tell you something. Even me, some of the ways I've come to understand the politics in Africa now, if I speak that to my parents, like, my dad's even shocked, like, because that is not the news being delivered on the BBC, the British Broadcasting Company. Like, all we can see of Africa is war, starvation, need, charity. You don't see life, joy, big buildings, beaches. Like, it's a hidden gem. Yeah, but there must be a reason. There must be a reason they're shaping the perspective that way.
So it's only, it's after you come to Africa.
You discover.
And you discover by yourself.
Yeah, and that's why you see, actually, if you notice, many of the people that have settled here are in retirement. Not so. Like, you find when they've worked their whole lives in Europe, they have their pension. Maybe during their life they got a chance to visit Africa. They've seen the potential it has. So when it comes to that time of life to stop working, they use that money they've saved and they shift here. Yeah, but it's just rare to find maybe younger people here who are not working in an NGO, like actually living here, because I suppose you have to think outside the box. Yeah, like, and have a lot of faith. Yeah.
So because us here, we work so hard.
Yeah, it's true.
To make sure we go to Europe, we go to America, we give our kids the better life.
Yeah.
That's what we think. We think here when someone has money, the best education is in Europe. The best health system is in Europe.
And about health, even that one is a big lie, because I've tried so hard getting health on our national health service, and every time I've ended up
I wish I had
failing
Robin
and coming
Kisti
back.
here. I have a friend of mine.
Yeah.
She's called Robin Kisti.
Okay.
She lived in London and she lived in the UK and she lived in the US.
Yeah.
So every time she was on my show, she was like, the health system in Europe,
No. Because, like, let me tell you a story actually, because I have a problem with my left knee, and I've had it for some years. I used to be a runner. I ran a marathon, the London Marathon, and I tore the meniscus, So I was suffering with it for a long time out here, but you know, I didn't really know how to go about. It's a risk operating, and it's expensive. So I tried going back last year, trying to get on that waiting list. But they just dismissed me like, you're young, you're healthy, nothing wrong with you. At that same moment, I got a message from a friend here saying, Star, come back. Come back to Uganda, I'll help you. I'll put you on my insurance. I'm like, it's the opposite of how the world sees the world. Like, that help I need is coming from Africa, and I'm being rejected over there. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Really?
Yeah, like all the love, like...
So when you came back here, was your problem sorted?
No, we're still, like, he did take me to a doctor, but it needs an operation. So that's a long-term, thing to look at.
So when did you come to Uganda? Because you arrived in Kenya?
So that same year, 2009, I ended up organizing for the whole group. We were a group of volunteers. So every weekend I would organize a trip. I was that go-getter. I was that organized person. So I would organize a trip to a different city. We'd explore while we were teaching in a school. So one weekend I organized a trip to Jinja for whitewater rafting. Yeah, that was my first time in Uganda. I then planned, I returned 2 years later during my university holidays. And that's when I made really good friendships, like I can say like a sister. And from then, the next 10 years were between England and Uganda, like Jinja specifically. Then it was during COVID, I think, that I shifted to Kampala.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to settle in Kampala?
No, it was music pulling me, I swear. It's like a spirit. I remember being in the living room in Jinja and listening to the music. And the funny thing is, at the time, the girls I lived with were very strong Christians. So if they would play this music, and I would feel it like pulling me to Kampala, this urban music, like, I used to be like, no, it's the devil, like it's something bad, resist. But eventually, I just had to like follow my soul. And I just left. I was staying with my sister. I just walked out one day, not knowing where I'm going, what I'm doing. I just followed. And in a crazy way, I ended up in music in Kampala.
So now you're in Kampala doing music?
Yeah.
So do you feel like going back and settle in England?
I'll never. I don't believe I will ever. No, at least take me somewhere else, but not England. If I had to be there for a time, of course you force yourself and you manage, but...
Wait a minute. You come from England. You're a citizen, right?
I'm a citizen. But I tell you, I've tried to become a citizen here. There's no way.
You've tried to become a citizen in Uganda?
I've asked so many people how, and I've not managed. So I'm a citizen of UK, and I accept the blessings that comes with that passport. It enables me to travel freely to a lot of countries, more especially Western countries. Africa, I still need visas. But that country, let me put it like this. Here you have freedom. It's ironic because the West calls it a dictatorship. But it's ironic that we feel more free here. What does that say? Perhaps we're under dictatorship, but we don't know.
But I think there is more human rights and in Europe than here. The human rights work, like, you know, and when you say we are free here, and yet some people say in Africa it's stiff, yeah?
I can't speak for all of Europe, I can't speak for America, but in Britain, definitely we have a very consolidated class system. What they used to call lower class or working class, middle class and upper class. So according to the class you're born into and the life you fall into is generally how people see you. And it's and you can be easily dismissed according to that.
Morocco is joining Sahel states. So